and welcome to Season 4 of Baltimore Pioneers, coming to you from the newly renovated Parkway Theater. As always, we are here to talk with compelling thinkers and doers in Baltimore. I'm Imani Humphreys-Torres, and thanks for tuning in into our student-produced show. Our guest in this episode is Deb Tillett, CEO of ETC Baltimore. ETC stands for Emerging Technology Centers, and since the late 1990s, ETC Baltimore had provided the community with workspaces, incubator programs, and a network of entrepreneurs and experienced business professionals in Baltimore and beyond. Transformation, innovation, and collaboration are three of the key principles of ETC's Baltimore, and we will explore them in this episode with Ms. Tillett. So how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So could you tell us what ETC Baltimore is all about?
ETC Baltimore is all about making an economic impact on the city of Baltimore, one entrepreneur at a time. So we're about the passionate, young and not so young people who have a great idea and they want to turn it into a wonderful business. And so we're there to provide everything they need when they need it.
So I was just wondering, because I know the program is open to everyone, but what level of experience is required to join the program? Is experience even necessary?
Experience is not necessary, and there is no level, particular, or requirement. You do need to have an innovative business model or idea that's technology enabled. And I would suggest that we have a vast cohort of millennials, which is wonderful, but we got a lot of a little bit graying, not unlike me, who've been there, done that, and are kind of recovering, but would like to start another business. So there is no age limit. We do not, however, focus on sort of still in school, as in high school, although there are many, many programs citywide that do that, and we do volunteer some services in that regard.
So what is the Accelerate program? Can only beginners join, or are struggling businesses allowed to participate also?
The Accelerator program is based on the concept of business acceleration, and in the mid-2000s, when all you really needed to start a business was your cell phone and an idea, the concept was investors would make multiple small investments in many companies, hoping that one would hit big, and some folks did with Airbnb and Dropbox. So the point is, do you have, again, an innovative business model or idea? Will a small amount of investment capital and a finite period of time, 13 weeks, help you move your product forward, launch your product, or at least get to a minimum viable product?
So that kind of goes right into my next one. Could you explain the Beehive a bit? I know it's kind of connected to the Accelerate program.
Sure, Beehive is just a catchy little way of saying kind of a buzzy collaborative environment. And so it's very much around a co-working space where if you have an idea, you don't want to work at home in your fuzzy slippers, you want to be around some other people, then you join the Beehive. And literally you can go online, swipe your credit card, and rent a desk for a day or a week or a month. And you're in a very collaborative environment where there's 24/7 access and free Wi-Fi. And if you're just thinking through an idea, you might even be an artist or a writer, but you want to be around collaborative people, and that's really what it is.
It's really amazing. Can you stay and work at home too, or
both? You can do whatever you like. The programs are such that if you only want to show up one day a week, then it's a minimal payment. You show up for one day a week, or you can be there all day, every day, and have a very dedicated desk where all of your work materials and stuff are. But the idea is that you are around other like-minded people that have a cool business idea and really want to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, so how long can a company stay there? Like, how long can a person stay the program?
It really depends on where you are and when and if you feel like you're ready to graduate, per se. In the Beehive, there's no real requirement or length of time. On average, when you're in the incubator program at ETC, the average stay before graduation is approximately 27 months. So in a little over 2 years, some of the companies that start and in the incubator program get to a point where they are successful enough that they feel like they want to go out on their own and make a real statement and impact in Baltimore City.
So can you explain the graduation process a little bit? I doubt it's like a huge ceremony or anything.
Well, we cry a little bit, and then we hope that they find, no, there's no formal graduation. Yeah. It's really in the course of working with the company. Do they feel like, and we feel like, that they are at a stage where they can afford to lease a space, that they have enough revenue, that they are in a place where they are sustainable without some support. And so that tends to be the criteria. And we work with them, and we hopefully make a smooth transition, usually with our partners at Baltimore Development Corporation, that they find another space in the city. And we've got a lot of those stories that we could talk about, really wonderful graduation stories still alive and still in the city of Baltimore.
So we're going to take a quick break from our conversation with Deb Tillett, CEO of ETC Baltimore. When we return, we will discuss their track record of launching successful businesses. Stay tuned.
Modernizing school buildings for Baltimore City students has begun, like right here at Arundel Elementary School.
Amazing new spaces to learn in.
Yes, through this program, schools and communities are being brought together in a brand new way.
And I'm so proud to be part of this effort.
That's right. Construction jobs are open and internships are available. Discover more about the program at www.baltimore21stcenturyschools.org.
Building a brighter future together.
Hi students and families, you can get to thousands of free online books in 3 easy steps. First, log on to www.kidsa-z.com or download the Kids A through Z app. Next, enter the teacher username. You should have received this already from your teacher. If you haven't, ask for it at school tomorrow. And finally, click on Reading Room and pick a book. If you need any help, please ask your child's teacher.
I really wanted to take care of my family a lot. I knew that I could be the one to sort of make my family proud, make the city proud. And so when I'm studying late at night, I just remember that my family is dependent on me. And so it means a lot to me that if I can just make that dream come true.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Welcome back to Baltimore Pioneers. I'm Imani here at the Parkway Theater with Deb Tillett, CEO of ETC Baltimore. So what's one of the companies that have come out of ETC Baltimore that you feel have really connected with the community?
That's so hard. All of my children are beautiful, all of these wonderful companies. But the one that comes to mind is a company called Alaview. And the reason why, it's a woman-owned business, and she's a former Teach for America alum. And in 2013, she joined our accelerator program with this passion about solving issues in school budgeting. And so she did not know how to code, had never run a business before, was a Teach for America alum. She went through our 13-week program. She taught herself to code. She had an MVP at the end of that, and that was in 2013. It's now 2018. She's gone on to raise an incredible amount of money. She has a great office space in our house, which is really wonderful, in Remington, up to about 24, 25 employees, and she's just killing it. So Jess Gartner, Alaview, and really making a statement and an impact, not just on the city, but with her product in schools all over the place, helping school principals understand the budget issues that happen all during the school year using her platform.
I think you might have answered my next question there a little bit. So I was going to say, in your opinion, what's the most successful group to leave the program?
Oh, there's so many, and Alaview is just a wonderful, and certainly on my watch, but the organization's been around since the late 90s, and there's several that have really, really great success stories. One that you may have heard of is Millennial Media, and they started out with 4 people in 2006. They had 48 people by 2008, 2012. They had an IPO with a huge market cap. They were acquired by AOL and Verizon. They have great space next door to where we started in the Can Company. And it's a wonderful success story. But there are many, many others. R2 Integrated. When you drive along Pratt Street, you see their wonderful sign right there on Pratt Street. Many others. I mean, some wonderful, wonderful companies and great successes. Maybe not as big as that, but there's a wonderful company called Smart Logic. And there's some that are right now at ETC that we're going to be hearing about.
So I was going to say, with the companies you mentioned, what helped them thrive and succeed? What helped them make it?
In every instance, it's absolutely about the person and the team. And I see that all the time. It's about the person. Can you bring it? Can you do it? Are you willing to do the hard stuff that it takes? Because there are days when you are in the pit of despair and you don't think you're going to make it. And you don't know if you're going to get out of this, but you persevere You know, you believe, you don't think you can fail, because if you do think you can fail, you will. There's nothing wrong with failure. You can always get back up, but it really takes a lot to get back up and keep going. And that's what all of these founders, successful founders have. It's about them and their passion.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was really profound. So, I think that might have been it, but how can we learn from what ETC Baltimore is doing?
I think by example. If someone comes to me with an idea, and it's an idea, it may not be 100%, but I understand and I feel the person. There are ways that we can try and help them and provide resources so they can think through, maybe do what's a cliche now, but a pivot. So you start down one path and it's like, oh no, that's not working. Maybe this is my real customer.
Being there to support them.
Being there to support them. As I said, we're what they need when they need it. And if that means that all you need is to sit at your desk and put your head down because you've done this before, then that's fine. But if you're brand new, you're just out of school, not unlike you, you've got all the passion in the world, but you've never run a business before. Well, I have. I've run 6, 7, I can't tell you how many businesses I've run. And so I know people who know people who know people who can probably come together and provide the support and services that you need.
So does working with entrepreneurs and companies so directly affect Baltimore as a whole?
Oh, absolutely. Most of what's happening here in Baltimore in terms of growth, there are over 13,000 small businesses here in Baltimore City alone. And entrepreneurship is in all shapes and sizes and colors, and it's as diverse as it can be. It's not all about technology, though you need a lot of technology to run any kind of business these days. But it is the fundamental foundation of this city, and it's why this city rocks.
That's really amazing that so many people who've come together to help our community grow and thrive through the power of businesses and entrepreneurship. So let's take another quick break and come back as we discuss the transformative impact ETC Baltimore had on the Canton waterfront and their current efforts on Haven Street in Highlandtown, all right here on Baltimore Pioneers.
These are our future: engineers and electricians,
software designers and doctors,
construction workers and childcare providers.
They will build apps and houses, create menus and video games,
work with cutting-edge technology and kids.
They'll be found in classrooms and courtrooms, construction sites and computer labs.
They are Baltimore City Public School students. They are career and technology education.
Everyone has a role to play when it comes to making sure each student is in school every day. By working together, the entire school community can create a school climate that makes school a place where students want to be, and a place where teaching and learning can thrive. Schools where students and families feel welcomed, supported, and respected reinforce a culture of high attendance expectations and are exciting places to be. So do your part in making sure that all of our students are in school every day, ready to learn.
Welcome back to Baltimore Pioneers. I'm Imani Humphreys-Torres here with Deb Tillett, CEO of ETC Baltimore, and in this segment we are focusing on community impact. So to give our viewers a bit of background, can you discuss the first or original location on Boston Street in Canton and the transition you had to the new building in Highlandtown?
Sure, Canton was a wonderful spot, and in the late 90s, a developer and the then mayor had a very prescient idea that maybe they could really make an impact on Boston Street and move it along. And so they redeveloped the Can Company building, and ETC had the whole third floor of the Can Company, and we survived there and thrived there for about 15 years. And I came on board in 2012, and one of my first decisions was that the lease was up and I had to find us a new location. Not easy. We looked all over the city, and we finally landed about 1.5 miles away on Haven Street, and it's been fantastic. But I've been witness over the 5 years of what economic development is all about. Yeah. It's been fascinating to see a post-industrial reuse building that had only been seen on the wire for years, with rats running around in the basement, to this really fabulous, vibrant tech space. And in the next year, the landlord bought the building next door, redeveloped it. Now one of my graduate companies is in there. Also, we've opened this Monument Brewery is next door. We're about to get a really fun event space called Urban Axes, where you can throw axes and not unlike throwing darts. They hope that there's going to be a restaurant there soon. And about 2 blocks down the street, another one of my graduate companies partnered with another one of our companies and bought a building on Haven and Eastern. And so economic development is ongoing.
So feel free to brag a little bit, but what is your proudest achievement in that area?
Oh gosh, I think just that we were able to be first movers and put a stake in the ground. And I had folks at the time ask me if I wanted to put ETC's logo on mace and hand it out as swag and we have experienced rats running around in the bottom of the building, but our landlord has done an amazing job. And we have a beautiful parking space. And I have year-on-year photographs of a drug bust and a beautiful fountain. And so it can happen. And we have still a lot of the original neighborhood, and what's going on is still there, and it's really important.
So, and with your current location on Haven Street, what has been happening in the ETC's presence in the community?
I think we've had an impact because other people are coming there where they might not have before. Haven Street was a north-south industrial gateway. So from Boston Street up to Orleans. And all that happened was big trucks and people just flew right by. Well, now we have a refurbished Burger King. The Dunkin' Donuts is awesome. They opened a dollar store. As I said, all of what's going on with us is important. And we've found other shops and other places opening up along Haven Street that would, I think, not have been there before.
So how can all of this lead to a change in the narrative about Baltimore? I feel like that really connects with the last answer. But
I think we all have to change the narrative of Baltimore. I think it's a fantastic place. I call it one of the sort of biggest small cities. I think that Baltimore allows you 1 degree of separation from anyone you need to meet. And I personally can trace my Baltimore life and career 1 degree of separation from Kermit the Frog to Mick Jagger, Sid Meier, who created all of those wonderful computer games, and Bedouin tribesmen. And I think that that is what Baltimore has to offer. Here in this city, you are 1 phone call away from somebody who knows somebody that can really help you. And that doesn't happen anyplace else.
I was going to say, some people refer to it as small to more. So
It
does
is.
that make it does that make it a little easier to find people who would like to come to ETC?
It's good for prospecting. We also do a lot of outreach both outside the region, nationally and internationally. And we are getting some recognition even internationally. We'll be accepting an award in Toronto soon for the way we do best practices around business acceleration. So we're getting the word out there that Baltimore is about business, and it is about technology, and it is about entrepreneurship. And we were named in 2017 one of the 50 best co-working places in all of the country, 1 for each state, and we got it for the state of Maryland. So that's what's important about what we do, but also what's important about Baltimore.
It's absolutely amazing having awards even in Toronto.
Right, so we'll go to UBI, which is a global accelerator, and we benchmarked really high against the rest of the folks in the world that took the same survey. There were about 1,500, and so we outscored a lot of other people for our successes and the opportunities that we provide. So I'll go accept the award.
You must be very proud of yourself.
Well, I'm proud of the people that work for me.
It's amazing. Let's take our last break for this episode, and when Baltimore Pioneers return, Deb Tillett will talk more about how the youth and members of our community can get involved with ETC Baltimore.
Work is underway on modernizing school buildings, like here at Fort Worthington Elementary Middle School.
The type of school buildings we deserve.
Our new schools will provide community-friendly spaces and be better for our environment. They will allow for innovative technology and 21st century teaching and learning.
The 21st Century School Buildings program is positively affecting my education and my city.
That's right. Learn more about this major commitment from the state, City of Baltimore, and city schools by visiting BaltimoreTwenty1stCenturySchools.org. building a brighter future together.
School cafeterias have been making some changes. Whole grains, whole milk, fresh fruits and vegetables, some of them delivered from the district's own farm, and it's all free. Every city school student can now eat breakfast and lunch free every day.
It's been good so far.
Because it's like they gave me a choice, and I like having a choice.
Now that's something to snack on.
The most important thing is to try to find out what you want to do with your life. Well, I've always wanted to be a doctor, so that's sort of like guided me, and that's sort of like been my motivation to do so well in school. And that will be your motivation. If you say, hey, I want to be a photographer, then you'll work towards that. If you want to be a doctor, you'll work towards that. And you'll pick the college, or you'll do whatever. You'll pick the internships, and that will just sort of guide you. So try to find some type of long-term goal if you can, and just let that guide you like I did.
Welcome back to the final segment of this episode of Baltimore Pioneers. I'm Imani Humphreys-Torres here in the historic Parkway Theater with Deb Tillett, CEO of ETC Baltimore. So how can the youth get involved? I know you mentioned that high schoolers can't really participate right now, but is there any way they can start to work towards being in the program?
There's lots of youth-oriented programs, not the least of which is something called Digital Harbor. They're code in the schools. I know Morgan University has a program called EDAC, Entrepreneur Development Association. And so even we volunteer sometimes. I'll speak in high schools, or we take tours. We'll bring tour groups in to have entrepreneurs talk to them. And so there are ways and a couple little touch points to get involved in and around entrepreneurship. And I've been to Roland Park Middle School and judged pitch competitions. And there's NIFTY, which is National Federation for Teaching Entrepreneurship. And a lot of opportunities like that. There are often camps. I can't name one right now, but a lot of work over the summertime. But there are movements afoot in the city of Baltimore. The mayor is extremely robust about youth entrepreneurship and making sure that there are opportunities for the youth of the city of Baltimore to understand and know the path that it takes to become an entrepreneur and go into business and launch a product.
So do you have to have a previously established company? I know you said you can just show up with an idea, but is that something that you can do?
You can come to us and say, I have this idea, I think it's really cool, can you help me? Well, yes, if you're willing to participate in the program and let us coach you and help you, yeah, we'll help you move it along, just even from idea stage. And in fact, I'm sorry we use your name, but we have a program called Pioneer.
Oh.
And it just launched last year. We're in our third sort of segment. And Pioneer is for people who have an idea, you're at idea stage, and you still have a full-time job. And if you get into the program, we take a cohort of 12, and we meet 9 weeks in the evening. We match you with a mentor. You set goals. For 9 weeks, you work through sort of the business model canvas and things you need to know about, you know, who wants your product, how do they get your product, how do I go to market and sell my product. And it's for you in the evening if you have a full-time job and this is kind of a side hustle, and then you can figure out if this is something that's really going to work, or better luck next time, I better keep my job. And so we have applications open for that cohort now, and it'll launch in the next couple of weeks, but it's called Pioneer Baltimore.
That was something I was going to ask about, but it's great you really went into depth for that. So for the program itself, like, what do you need to do when you want to be in the program? Could you explain the process a little bit?
The process is that the applications are open. They're on our website. You go to etcbaltimore.com, you look up Pioneer Program. There's an application that you fill out, and then the applications will go through ETC first and then some outside judges, and we choose a cohort of between 14 and 16 people. There's no seed investment, but we do feed you at night, you know, during the sessions. And it's a 9-week working session. And then you do a 3-minute pitch at the end to a nice group of investors and people and decide whether or not this is something you really want to move forward with, or you're not quite ready yet.
Yeah. So what advice might you have for students who are looking to get into technological fields? Like, what advice do you have for them?
Try, practice. Practice, practice, practice. I've just got finished reading a book called The Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell, and it's absolutely amazing what the number of hours of just doing it, and I won't necessarily use practice, but the successful ones, the thing that tends to be is the amount of time that they actually dedicate to what it is that they want to do. And Bill Gates was a wonderful example. He started when he was 13 or 14 and was lucky enough to get into a computer lab that he wasn't really allowed to. But he got in there and started playing. And that gave him over 10,000 hours of computer programming, playing around before Microsoft ever came into being. So if you've got something, you just don't let it go and keep trying.
Just keep working with it.
Keep working with it.
That's how we have our 13,000 businesses here in Baltimore, huh?
That's right.
So how do you think those businesses kind of started up? Like how do you think they went about that?
It's very different for each person, and I know my own personal journey. I was working at an advertising agency, and I had the head sportswear account, and we were going to take all of the fashion photographs. I hired a young fashion photographer. She was the assistant of somebody who was, really well established, and she and I got along. I was the account executive. I had hired her, and she was fantastic, but we kept saying, why are we doing this for somebody else? We're really good.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? And so we did a little bit of our daytime work for these folks, and then finally we said, nope, that's it. We're doing it. And so it's a different journey for everyone, but that's kind of how it happens. You might be sitting right next to somebody who has the same kind of interest or passion and start talking, and before you know it, you're oh, wow, we could do that. Yeah, we could really do that. And then you do.
Make your dream a reality, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. You must be very proud of your business and watching it grow and thrive.
I had many. I jumped right from fashion to computer gaming, so I was in computer gaming for about 25 years, and it's a very different journey. Fashion really was all about wearing black and how was the hem, but in computer gaming it was geeks, and they all wore black too. They just didn't know where to put the bow, but it was just really fun.
Yeah.
And I've always liked working for myself. I really couldn't work for anybody else.
So what is next for ETC Baltimore?
That's a great question. So ETC is going into year 18 or 19. And the interesting part is when we started, again, in the late 1990s, only game in town. It was the place where technology launched. By 2012, when I joined, again, ETC was the only opportunity in town. We were the first to launch an accelerator, not just citywide, but statewide. We had the incubator that was very, very successful, and we launched a co-working space, one of the first. Well, we are in 2018, and there are probably 19 other places and spaces, not unlike ETC, trying to and doing what we do, which I think is a great story for the city of Baltimore, that all of this vibrancy that ETC started has really spread out. And there's stuff happening on the west side, Conscious Venture Lab, Innovation Village, there's BCAN at MICA, University of Baltimore has programs, Johns Hopkins has several, there's plenty at the City Garage. And so what's next for ETC is I think that we're going to make sure that we make and continue to make a mark on the city of Baltimore, but we're there to help everybody.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing. We've been around for a long time, and we're here to help you.
Well, Ms. Tillett, this does bring us to the end of Baltimore Pioneers, so thank you for having us and explaining the inner workings of ETC Baltimore.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And I'd like to thank you for watching Baltimore Pioneers, a program where we talk with thinkers and doers in Baltimore. I would also like to thank Parkway Theater for allowing us to film here. This show is produced by the City School Student Media Team and is brought to you by the Proximity Project and Education Channel 77 of Baltimore City Public Schools. And this has been Baltimore Pioneers. I'm Imani Humphreys-Torres. See you next time.